everybody, and welcome back to the Insert Wisdom podcast, episode number 13, I think. It has been a really long time since I have recorded a podcast episode or posted on Substack, which, if you don't know, I write a publication on Substack called The Folklore Library, and that's where I host my podcast from. So if you're listening to this on Apple Music or Spotify, it originated on Substack first. Originated in first? I think that means the same thing. Anyway. But today was very much a content-driven day. And there have been a few things that have happened lately that have inspired me to want to create again. And I'll get into those in a moment. But first, I want to say that I have been sick for 3 weeks exactly today. So if I pause to cough or my voice sounds really scratchy or whatever, that is why. So I just thought I would let you know. But lately, first, I guess I should address why there's been such a long hiatus between last episode, which was like at the end of June, and here we are almost September. I honestly don't know. I don't know why, excuse me. I don't know why I stopped posting. I guess I just didn't have anything to say. And I'm not somebody who can create unless something speaks to me or if I have something to say. And then I also had some trips going on. I'm pretty sure there was something else going on in July that I just don't remember. And then in August, I have been sick. But I'm back now, and I'm excited to create content and get back into my writing. And I have some writing updates as well. But I think we really live in an age where a lot of people want to be able to just be completely independent and free to do whatever they want. Like a lot of people I know just do not want to clock in to work anywhere or have a traditional 9 to 5. A lot of people want to be able to just create from home or be their authentic selves, and that be enough in terms of making money, and for a long time, I was somebody who was doing really well on social media, particularly on TikTok. And you just never know where it might go if you just start posting things, whether that's on Threads or YouTube or Substack or whatever. I'm a firm believer that every single one of us can have a unique life doing whatever it is that truly lights us up. And then, I've always been a writer. I've always been a yapper, I guess you could say. I've always had things to comment on, and I feel like that is a constant in my life, that I'm always taking in things that I'm learning, cultivating stories, and then I spit them back out through various mediums to talk about what I've learned or to make something creative with that. And if I don't do that, I find that I get really sad. And if you are sick of hearing about Taylor Swift, well, I'm so sorry. You're about to hear about Taylor Swift again. I'm so happy for her and Travis Kelce. I'm so excited to see what she brings next for us and her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. I'm so excited. I am a Swiftie. But the reason I'm bringing her up is because she was saying in an interview, I think it was on the podcast, New Heights podcast that she did with Travis and Jason. But she was saying that she was bullied in school, and the only thing that brought her comfort was when she discovered songwriting and journaling and writing. And that's something that I've done my entire life also. So again, you just never know where things can go. And I'm constantly surprised with where some of the things I say and do end up. I mean, like I said earlier, like this podcast has been listened to in over 30 countries at this point. And, my threads typically do very well. And I saw tonight that I had a thread that a content creator on Instagram that has like, over 200,000 followers had taken one of my threads and put it in a video of hers and made a reel with it. And I was just like, oh my God, I love that so much. Like, I love when the things I say and create find their way into places that I never would have seen coming, or like the things I say resonate with people or inspire them to create or make them laugh or whatever. I just love that so much. And that's the main thing with creating in general. Like, I don't necessarily like creating by myself, but I love doing things in collaboration, like just throwing things out there and see where they land, which is like another reason why I love doing this podcast, because I'm just at my desk talking to you guys. But then someone in Austria, of all places, will be listening to this, or, it's an amazing way to connect with the world. And, human beings have always been creative. It's literally in our DNA. I mean, that's how we are made. It's like two people come together and they have a child, and it's a mixing of DNA. It spits out something entirely new, right? Us. And, the Big Bang, you could even say, is like its own form of a big creative moment that the cosmos delivered to us. And it's just like creating, showing and telling. It's just so ingrained in us. And I love when the desire to create comes back to me, because I do go through periods of time where I just like don't know what to create. I have found that if I'm trying to create from nothing, like self-initiating, it doesn't work. Like I always have to respond to something else. And then that makes me go, ooh, okay, what about this? What can I create with this? And so I guess the whole reason I'm talking about this, other than to just update you on where I've been and talk about how I'm feeling now in terms of what I create, is to just say that, if you have a desire to write a book or start posting TikToks or YouTube or whatever, just start posting. I mean, there is a learning curve. You learn how to use a platform and whatnot, but like if you're scared of being seen, none of this is real anyway, right? Like I tend to try to look at life like that. It's all a game. And I've become settled enough in myself now where it's like I'm willing to take a risk and to put things out there, whether they're a little spicy or acerbic or just mischievous or whatever. Like I don't have a problem doing that anymore. But the hardest part is putting yourself out there in the beginning. But then it's like you really get used to it over time. And you really, truly do not know what could happen. And that to me is the most exciting part. And just seeing what I create, like where it ends up and what people think about it, what they create with what I say or create or whatever. How many times am I going to say create in this episode? But so that's been something that I'm happy to see has returned to me lately. The other thing I wanted to briefly mention, I think I've mentioned this in previous episodes. I honestly have a hard time remembering every single thing that I talk about on the Insert Wisdom podcast. But I have been writing a second book. For those of you who don't know, if this is your first episode, I wrote a book that came out almost a year ago in October 2024 called Under the Same Sky. It was a labor of love. I needed to write it. It's a small town, friends to lovers romance. I packed so much of myself into that book, but obviously it's still a work of creative fiction. But I was so proud of that book, and I can't believe that I actually did it. And I self-published it. I did everything, and now it's out there in the world. It is available on Amazon if you'd like to check it out. As always, I have the links to it in the show notes, as well as everything else if you want to get in touch with me on various socials. But that book unfolded in a way that I'm not sure I could ever duplicate again. Obviously, anything's possible. But when I was writing that book, it's like one chapter just materialized after the other. It just kind of flowed out effortlessly. And I don't know if that's because that book was a romance and I generally knew the arc of the story, whereas this second book I'm writing is fantasy or like cozy fantasy. And so maybe that affected the way I wrote the first one, but like it's strange because no one told me that your second book is going to be even harder to write than your first book. I think we have a fire truck that's about to pass by. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. But I've been having such a hard time writing this second book because fantasy is just one of those genres where anything goes. You could make it as crazy or as tame as you want it to be. You can make up any of the rules with the magic system you want, or you can go anywhere you want. Like, technically, all fiction, I guess, is a form of fantasy, but like, it's been so difficult because there are so many ways that the story could start, you know? And then there are so many ways the story could go. That's really why I love short form content, or just getting to sit in front of a microphone and yap the way I am to you right now, because it's like I'm not having to structure anything and to make sure things are landing, that I'm crafting great characters or having good plot arcs, or rhythm and pacing is good, or syntax and all of that stuff, right? Because writing a story is all about craftsmanship and what's the word I'm looking for? It's just cultivating an entire world for the reader, and it's like, to me, that's a lot of pressure. And I just want it to be good, and I know that I can write a book. I've done it, but this second one is so difficult. I don't know why. And I can't like get the thing out of my head of editing while I'm writing. I've heard that quote where it's like, just get it out on the page and you can make it good later. I understand that in theory, but that's just not how my brain works. If you follow me on TikTok or Threads, you know that my Threads in particular right now, but my TikToks used to do very well. But I just sort of say things as they come to me in the moment, and they feel true for me, and I put them out there, and they usually do really well. And a lot of people resonate or comment on it or like it. But that's entirely different from writing a fully fledged book. So I am struggling a little bit with writing the second book, but I had a goal to have it done before my birthday, which is in February. I don't know if I'm going to meet that goal, but I can't wait to talk about it more, because it's like, it's an idea that I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy. The escapism, the world I'm creating, the way that I write, I feel is very, it's very me. I like to call my writing etherlit. I guess I could explain what that is another time, but, well, let me try to explain it now. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together. Okay, the definition I have written down is etherlit is writing that feels like a transmission, dreamlike, a blend of gothic, romantic, what speaks to the invisible, lush imagery, archetypal, emotional. And if that sounds really pretentious, I apologize. It probably is, but I just wanted to have a word that described my style of writing, I guess. If you've read Under the Same Sky, maybe you can tell me if that fits or not. But yeah, that's like the main creative thing I've been doing lately. And I hope that I do finish at least draft 1 by my birthday. Whether or not I do remains to be seen. I think what I'm going to end up having to do is just writing it in a different way. Writing it how it works for me, that goes right into so many of the things I've touched on in this podcast before, is that you don't have to do things a certain way just because it's the general consensus. It's the general way that most people do things. You don't have to do that. You can create new pathways and avenues for your creations. And for me, the way that seems to work the best in my writing is to start with imagery. Close my eyes, go inward, and see what images come up. And then ask what feeling is trying to be communicated through these images, and then write from there. So what ends up happening is my book or my writing becomes a tapestry that's sort of woven together through different images or sentences or scenes or whatever. It's not like the easiest way to write, it probably would drive someone like Stephen King crazy. I don't know. But I that's how it works the best for me. Just write whatever scenes come to mind, and then I can stitch them together later. And of course, in future episodes, if you want to, I can speak more about the writing process, if that's something that you are interested in, or writing in general. I think that it's important to share the things, the process behind the finished product, like the fuck ups and the messiness, the things that don't quite, they're not polished yet. I think it's important, at least for me, to share that side of things, because I have a tendency to want to only share things when I feel like they're complete. But I think that might be part of what sets me apart on social media, is just sort of sharing the process. And I guess before I go, I will share a writing tip for those of you who want it. No one asked me, but here you go. Make sure that your protagonists, and any of your main characters really, go through a transformation throughout your story. So do your characters change from beginning to end? Do they have an arc? Because if they don't, that is the number one thing that will cause readers to say that your characters are boring. We don't read books because we want the characters to stay the same. We read books because we want to experience and feel the characters going through something, becoming a better version of themselves, or more evil, or whatever, depending on what kind of character you're writing. But I'm not saying that like all your characters have to go through a character arc of some kind, but for damn sure make at least your protagonist do that, or the love interest, like the main characters, make sure that they go through a transformation or a change from beginning to end. Well, with that being said, I think that's all I have to say in this episode. Excuse me, geez. I think in my next episode, I will read to you my latest article that I posted this evening on Substack. Usually, the portion of my articles where I am reading the article to you is only available if you are a paying patron to the Folklore Library. The way that I have it set up right now is that there's the first section of the article, which is free. Everybody can read that. And then there's a section behind the paywall that is more to the article, right? Like the idea behind it, or just more things I have to say about it. And then there's the audio portion where I read the article to you. But I was thinking that maybe as a celebration of sorts to for my return to the podcast, that maybe I would read that to you and share it with you, because I think, again, it's just like I have so much to say and create that I just sit on all the time like a book dragon, and I just don't share it. And I need to get over that, I think, I need to get over the thing of, thinking that there's always going to be somebody out there who's more creative or smarter, better, prettier, whatever, and just start doing what only I can do, and that's the same for you. Only you can do whatever it is that you do. And that I think is really beautiful, because no one can take that away from you. So I hope you will tune in and enjoy that. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I will have links to my book and all my socials where you can reach me if you want. It's a really bizarre thing because, like I said, at this point, Insert Wisdom has been listened to in over 30 countries, and I have a lot of downloads, which really surprised me for a new podcast. This is a relatively new podcast, but I rarely get comments about the podcast, or people don't respond to it necessarily with questions or anything like that. But I think I already mentioned this in a previous episode, but I did start an email address if you want to email me your thoughts or questions or comments on the podcast, whatever you want to do. And that is insertwisdom@gmail.com. Because again, like I think I said this earlier, but one of my favorite things about the creative process is collaboration. I don't like creating things in a vacuum. I don't like creating things alone. I love when there's a dialogue, things to respond to, people talking about the things I talked about, or, just like having a dialogue. So feel free to reach out to me there. Thank you so much once again for listening. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm forgetting, but I think that's enough for this episode. So thank you so much. I promise, or at least I will try to promise, to not take a 3-month hiatus in the future, even though it's been 2 months. Okay, I'm going to be nicer to myself there. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.